Welcome to Collector's Corner, the premier digital art platform.
We help collectors gain and maintain their edge, all while appreciating beautiful art.
Let's jump in. Hello, friends. Welcome to Cornering the Market, number 40 by Collector's Corner. I know it says number 39 here on the screen, but this, when you listen to it, will be number 40. My name is P. You may know me online as Astum, joined by my great friend Jared, who you may know online as Jared_pause. I'm going to throw it over to Jared for announcement in a second, but super quickly, today is the 13th of July. This will be out on the 14th. I was out of town, out of country last week, so we skipped an episode. A lot to catch up on today. This will be on YouTube. This will be on podcast. We'll have a newsletter with extra stories that's shown here on the screen. Please subscribe and give us a like, give us a follow. It really helps us out. And one tiny bit of news before I throw it over to Jared. I am, for the newsletter, we are going to start showing half of them for free online, the other half a very, very small paywall, $20 a month. That is 0.01 Ether. It's actually, no, sorry, I think it's even less than that. Or I need to do the math there again. Things are moving too quickly, but that is really helpful for us. It really helps support this podcast. That's right, 0.01 Ether, apologies, and allows us to keep bringing you great content. Half of them will still be free, so don't worry about that, but wanted to put out that announcement. Let me throw it over to you, Jared. I know you got some exciting announcements, and here's Jared's Twitter on screen.
First off, man, good to have you back. We've had a couple long and lengthy, in-depth conversations, so I appreciate you, and I'm glad to be able to have my sounding board, so to speak. But wanted to just tell everybody that I'm humbled by the amount of support and DMs and interest in 8nap art. Wanted to give a reminder to everybody that the first round of mint passes will be available on August 8th. Yes, that was intentional to be on brand as 8/8, and I think we'll have a spaces next Wednesday for the platform with Collector's Corner. So it's going to be kind of interesting to be in the hot seat and not hosting some of that, but wanted to give that news to everybody and encourage you to come and talk about it. But a little bit of alpha. I actually wanted to say that the first listener to DM me direct on Twitter, and my Twitter's up on screen right now, Jared_pause, POZ, with the phrase "here for this," we'll get an allow list spot. So want to reward the Collector's Corner listeners. You guys have been amazing to me, so thank you so much.
Yeah,
Again,
first one to DM you me right now. Just kidding.
Here for this. You're already on the allow list, my man.
Awesome. Well, check that out for whoever is listening. We'll get this episode out. Jared, keep an eye out for here for this for your DMs. Really excited about 8nap art. Congrats on being so close to the release, not even a month. And we will send out a tweet from our Collector's Corner account on when the actual Twitter spaces will be to chat about that. So awesome. And here is my Twitter, Astum Cloud on Twitter here. And I also have launched a paid service for Collector's Corner. This is investor-focused content. Shoot me a DM if you're interested in that, or you can send us an email. I mentioned this at the top of our newsletter as well. Okay, let's jump into it, Jared. Can we get a vibe check? What is the vibe? I was out of the country, so I'm going to lean on you on this one. What was the vibe in the gen art world right now?
I mean, we talked about it early in the week off screen, but I've pivoted from cautiously optimistic to almost overly optimistic.
Irresponsibly optimistic?
Yeah. Not irresponsibly yet, but I'm seeing a lot of activity, and I'll speak about it on some of the notable sales coming up. But there just seems to be a lot of activity. The charts for a lot of crypto is very, very bullish, in my opinion. Again, not financial advice. And then even like the announcement that, again, I haven't dug into it, but it's fresh off the printer. But like I saw Ripple XRP just blast up 28% over the last hour. I just think that something is like really, really, it just feels like we're on the precipice of some good info. I'm sure, black swans and all that stuff can knock us down, but not only is the crypto market seemingly positive, but again, I'll talk about some sales. The NFT world just, it really feels like collectors are loosening up and the liquidity is coming back in. So I'm very, very optimistic.
Yeah, absolutely. And we don't talk charts much, but been calling for the bottom since December. I think it's quite clearly been in. If you've been waiting on the sidelines to for sub $1,000 Ethereum, I really just don't think it's going to happen. And I do think it's just a matter of time until we see this very obviously flow into the NFT space. Not quite there yet, but what is going on the blue chip Gen Art side, Jared? Anything you've noticed in the past week?
Yeah, so there's something, there's like, again, there's stuff that if you're astute and you're paying attention enough, like there's just stuff that's really exciting. Like there was a 5 autoglyph OTC deal between Larva Labs and Flamingo to complete Flamingo's set. Like that doesn't show up in the sales chart, but that it's incredibly huge amount of volume. That's just so exciting to me. The other notable sales, there's I've been, if you've had the liquidity, there's been amazing opportunities in ringers. There's 2 red peg and 1 yellow body sale that happened. We were literally on the phone and my listings bot showed it and I was like, oh my God, this isn't going to last. And it didn't last 15 minutes on that yellow body. There's 2 amazing night anti-cyclone sales for about 8 wrapped ETH each. And then Fidenza's back at the mix, man. It's just overly exciting. I think that there's a lot of volume. It's cool to see, a number of different projects in that 3-digit 7-day ETH volume. So super exciting. And not to mention you got punks up on screen. Punks are just flying right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say punks. Well, the charts you can't tell too much here, but the floor dropped to 45 and it bounced back up to 50. So we're just seeing a lot of good news across the ecosystem, and that sentiment tends to spread and make people happy. We'll have to see if it lasts. How about on the fxhash side?
Similar, man. You see it on screen. I'm excited because I mean, in the last 24 hours, the run on Contrapuntos has just been incredible. That was really cool to see. I think that RGB's still at the top, and there's a really great dragon sale. So everything again is above that 4-digit 7-day TES volume. Just that I think makes about 4 weeks now to have that statement. So again, it's just very encouraging. You're seeing blue chips move and people loosen up the purse strings. And our boy Toth got the last dragon sale at 3,700. Amazing buy, beautiful piece. And then the other one I pointed out, we'll touch on it later, but it was really cool to see Constellations by Yazid kind of hit that. There's what I thought was the grail bought by Dirtus, sold for 800 and something TES, and then also just a bunch of floor ones. So, dude, it's cool, man. I'm really encouraged. In Tezos world, I'm cautiously optimistic. The Ethereum world, I'm definitely a little bit more apt to show the excitement.
Absolutely. A lot of exciting stuff going on in Squiggles. A bunch of them got minted. We'll save that for our first news story. But what about the standard volume that we've been seeing?
Man, this is again, I hate to sound like a broken record, but volume's up to 346, so it kind of is beating that baseline I like to keep of 250. So up the floor price on OpenSea, because there's a flagged one that's technically the floor on another site, but the floor price is 10.1. It's down from 10.36. But what's crazy is there's only 2 listed before you start seeing 11. Or maybe somebody just lost. There's 3 now, right? So it's crazy. The bid ask spread is really low, and 31 sales over the last 7 days versus 19 2 weeks ago. Obviously, because you were on vacation, we missed one. But I mean, I wanted to hit on this is there was it went relatively unnoticed, but a hyper fuzzy was sold on an OTC deal, and it's to the same buyer who's been doing a lot of the Sotheby's Fidenza sales. And if you look at their wallet, it's like crazy the amount of acquisitions that have been done in the last couple months. So it's really encouraging in my opinion. A couple other notable highlights. Rope Renisto just had a buy this morning, and then over the 4th of July weekend. So going back a little bit, I like to say there's fireworks in Squiggles, man. There's some crazy low color spreads, amazing deals. There's just a lot of stuff getting listed and bought within minutes of the listings. So super, super exciting. I'm glad to see people moving on and really starting to buy the things that they love and take pride in that Squiggle ownership. The sentiment seems to be very prideful and very diamond handed in the community.
Absolutely. And I'm happy to see some monochromes getting some love. I tweeted about this. You
Good
know I
point.
love these.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's not loading right now, but the monochrome slinkies, they're pretty much all slinkies, are getting some love. And the other thing I wanted to highlight here, Jared, I don't think we look at this enough. You look at the all-time chart in Squiggles, we're starting to get enough history in this chart to really see some stuff. I mean, we're getting 2.5 years worth of data now, and this chart looks amazing. This is in ETH terms. US dollar terms, more of a blow off top, but yeah, I think sometimes folks, not everyone is used to looking at charts, but this is a really bullish looking chart. It's still on the climb. And again, not all collections have this kind of history. Not all collections have, especially our collections, have enough volume to see a lot of this in the charts. This is floor price, not sales price, et cetera, et cetera. But still, pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I'll have to revisit it, but I've been charting it against like the Bitcoin before the last blow off top, and they have some like eerily similar structures. So maybe that's a good reminder to check back in on that. But I agree with you. I'm incredibly bullish right now.
That's right, my friend. History repeats, or what is it? Rhymes but doesn't repeat. That's the saying. Let's go on to talk about some release recaps. Just a few I wanted to touch on. The first one I wanted to bring up just because it's so nice. I actually mentioned this in the newsletter. So for those of you who don't check the newsletter, this was one of those stories that was in the newsletter, but not elsewhere. Yamabushi's Horizons by Richard Nadler, 128 pieces, came out on Verse just a couple days ago. These were, I'm trying to remember exact. Oh, it was an English auction, so the top 128 bids won. The lowest bid was about the lowest winning bid was about $1,000. But these have done actually quite well. We're seeing some pretty solid activity here. We've got a wrapped ETH bid at almost $2,000 now. So anybody who minted these did well. And the artist is known, but it just goes to show you. And I was on the fence on this one, Jared. I was looking at him. I'm like, man, these look really, really nice. Save the liquidity for Collector's Corner as we are both building our respective businesses at the moment. But man, it's encouraging to see beautiful work get valued as such on the secondary markets. So I wanted to bring this one up. Did you get any of these?
I didn't. It minted out a little bit higher than my target price. But yeah, I mean, you win some, you lose some. This was very well received by the community, and the floor prices just held up. It's beautiful work. It's just absolutely stunning, honestly.
Right. And you're not really seeing any sales below in Ether. So for folks who were looking for a quick investment, that worked out well. Another one that minted out, I think higher. Well, the fact that it even minted out was a little bit unexpected, but Station 3 patron passes. Now we haven't talked about this a lot. Station 3 is like a Web3 hub. But what's interesting is that the artwork here is by our friend Grant Yoon. And this is, I think, I really like the piece. It's very iconic. Obviously, you got the Freedom Tower in the background, Statue of Liberty in his classic minimalist style. It is an edition of 1,000, so the price is a little hefty. I think there's some interest baked in terms of what utility might come out of this. But what I think is really, again, encouraging, when we talk about this section so we get a pulse on the market, it shows that the market is willing to support 800 Ether mint under the right conditions with the right artist, etc., the right narrative. And yeah, I was encouraged to see that go ahead and mint out.
Yeah, huge congrats to Bob Lucas for doing this and being a steward of the space. And it was, to your point, it was really encouraging to see the community rally around. I'll call it a project with the best intentions. And then, kudos to Grant for donating the art, and well, maybe he wasn't donated, but for providing the art and really, creating the hype and the attention necessary to support such a great project like Station 3.
Absolutely. And last one, I just wanted to quickly touch on for folks who may not have been following the post photography AI Perspectives #2 by Fellowship is out, and they have videos here. And there's been a range. This one, the lowest video, this collection, the lowest video minted at 0.7. They have a new video each day. These ones are pretty cool here. Lowest here was 0.73, and we just had one end by Public Fruit, which many thought were the best. Lowest at 0.328, but there's a big range here, as you can see. So really cool art coming out. Just wanted to put it on people's radar if you're not aware of it. And actually did for the Collector's Corner Premium, I did a whole deep dive into this segment, post photography AI, post video AI, and I'll be releasing that to the public so folks can get a sense of what Collector's Corner Premium is like, and also of this art, because I think it's awesome art. People should know about it. Let's hit some news. The big one, 81 new Squiggle mints. Jared, I know you have a lot to say, so why don't you start off, and I'll add any color if there is any that needs to be added.
Yeah, first off, shout out to Nifty 50 and his on-point analysis with the Squiggle DAO. He did a really cool highlight for, I call it maybe his top 10 mints, but the ones that came out for me is we hadn't seen a pipe mint for a long time, and so it was really cool to see a pipe come out. I haven't seen a bold for a while, which is really intriguing. There's a perfect spectrum that got minted to glitch. And then there's a really, really amazing, in my opinion, low color spread slinky. So low color spread pieces in general, but that low color spread slinky just seems to hit a little bit different. So overall, I think that it's enticing to me that the people who have had these aren't flipping them, so they're going into the right hands, in my opinion. And it's cool that Snow was able to announce to the public the plans for the remaining mints, of which there's a slight pivot out of the last 100 going to his kids. You can read the announcement that's on screen for all the details, but it's both exciting and a little bit nerve-wracking to know that there's going to be an end to the project here pretty soon, with the last mint going to the LACMA. So overall, I'm like a kid in a candy store anytime there's new Squiggle mints. So I was super, super enthusiastic to watch it and to be on a spaces with Squiggle DAO, and everybody was just sharing info and talking through it. It's like Christmas Day to me, man. It's kind of like my overall.
Absolutely. And of these 81, I completely agree with your analysis. I'm just going to throw one more out there. This Squiggle 9869 is actually very, very close to being a monochrome. I think I was looking at this 14 between the start and the end color, which is very much monochrome in my book. And there's another one that came out. I'm getting more obsessed with the monochrome slinkies. You're gonna think I'm talking my bags. I have two of these, folks, full disclosure, but I actually I'm starting to like them better than these low color spread slinkies. I know that sounds crazy. Not better than the hyper slinky. I'll admit that. And yeah, it was great to see that pipe come out. I realize it's just been quite some time since we've had a pipe minted. A lot of nice low color spreads. This one here in particular is very beautiful. Stunning. And that perfect spectrum, if people don't know, there's only 25 now, or sorry, 23 now perfect spectrums. I don't think this is updated. Maybe it's 22, but incredibly rare. Congrats to everybody who got a mint. Congrats to Snowfro to being oh so close to having this collection mint out. We're all looking forward to that being complete. I'm sure it'll be a weight off his shoulders as well. The second news story I wanted to bring up, I think I accidentally closed it. My apologies. But the second story I wanted to bring up is just that Feral File is having an exhibition. I thought this was cool. We haven't had an exhibition in a while. I like to highlight them. Some of our favorite artists are on here: Ipsketch, Melissa Widerect, Peter Plasma, Raylan Ark, Anna Lucia, etc. So this is pretty cool. And I just got an email about this, and so I'll include this in the newsletter. But the way that there's 130 different works, and they're being sold as sets. It'll be a Dutch auction, 7.2 ETH starting, 0.72 resting. We'll see how that goes. I have to take a look at the art. I believe that's coming out on the 20th of July. Yep, there we go. Collecting begins July 20th, ends. So it sounds like you have a day of the Dutch auction. But really cool to see this being curated by Aaron Penne. And I'm excited to see what all the art looks like for this one.
The one name that appeared there is one that we put on Great Art at Great Prices, is the Elsif. The artist has been really, really amazing art at really attractive prices on Tezos. So that was really cool for me to see. Is the curator on this is going deep and really hitting on all corners of the market. So not to just say it's about underrepresented artists per se, but it was just really cool. I think this is a very, very dynamic offering and one that I'll be paying attention to.
Yeah, and it's a great point, Jared, because our generative art world, as we know it, is really about 2.5 years old, and there's many artists who've been making art prior to being able to sell them in NFTs and prior to art blocks existing, etc. And I'm very curious to see when the next bull run happens, which artists are going to take it to the next step and start to become a lot more famous amongst our community. Elsif may be one of them, Raylan Ark maybe one of them. We'll have to see, but it is nice to have these exhibitions in that it exposes us to other artists, and when you start seeing the same names pop up, you start thinking, maybe they're one of the ones that are going to be really sticking around when the next when the next bear market comes around is probably the better way to measure it. But let's hop into some great art at great prices. One of my favorite artists here, it's Gallo Printers. This is kind of Math Castles-esque. Sorry for the Math Castles fans, not trying to be disrespectful, but it is ASCII art with movement. Floor price 23 Tez. I thought it was pretty cheap. Let me show you what one of these looks like. And something about this art with movement with kind of simple characters that I think is quite interesting. As I mentioned, Terraforms really hits in on that one.
Yeah, those are dope pieces. I'm a sucker for ASCII art. It's absolutely stunning. Next great art at great prices is Constellations by Yazid. You could see it hit the top 15 this week, largely due to Dirtis's buy, but there's also a number of other sales. I point this out because the floor is 340 Tez. There's been some collections offers accepted this week in the 200s, but after that one sale, it jumps to 550. It's a edition of only 50, so low supply. I'm interested to see how these kind of collections play out long term. But again, Yazid, amazing art in my opinion. So just wanted to point that out to the collectorship that it's getting a little thin over here if you have any interest.
Absolutely. In the bull run, Jared, we may struggle to find things less than $500. I'll be looking forward to having that problem.
Yeah, it's a heck of a problem to have.
But one that is in there, and for repeat listeners of the show, you'll notice I did not do a friendship bracelets update at the top of the show. Don't know how much that's been resonating with people. I'm still tracking it. So if anybody wants it back, let us know. However, friendship bracelets do fall under our threshold for great art at great prices. And the collection is interesting for a lot of reasons, but I actually really think the art is fantastic. I mean, this one right here is one that catches my eye sitting here at the floor, and less than $250 right now. This is including Ethereum's insane run up that literally just happened before we were starting to record. And there we go. There it is loading. So love the art, love the motion. I think this is a great one to have on your radar. Let's talk about a couple upcoming drops. The first two that I want to highlight are both with Kate Voss's new AI art initiative, gallery, focus. I believe it's a completely different, essentially part of Kate Voss Gallery. It's called 0K AI, and utilizes a new minting technology that allows them to randomize what you get out of the AI, similar to how we get a random piece from the algorithmic code-based generative art where you don't exactly know what you're going to get. This is a new way for doing that. So it's pretty cool what they've created here. They've had a couple of releases so far. Ivana Tau most recently, which is a Dutch auction. They have two fixed price ones coming up this week. First one with Obvious Group for 0.1 ETH. This is called, there's 69 pieces. It's called Speciesism, which looks pretty cool here. And the second one is called, forget the names here, Lope by Jenny Passanen. So really, I love the innovation here that they're doing. That's why I wanted to highlight these. And I think the art is great. These are some amazing AI artists as well. And for those reasons, wanted to put it on everyone's radar. Then the next one, which is currently available now, this is not a mint where you're going to log in and be able to purchase them, but it is called Cove Height by Harvey Rayner. These are beautiful pieces, 60 of them. Some of them are already spoken for. I think these ones with the red dots are spoken for. This is really meant to be a little bit focused on the traditional art world. But what's cool about these, Jared, is there are all physical pieces. So all 60 of them have physicals, and those physicals have a chip in it where you can claim the NFT. So kind of similar to the 9DCC stuff for folks who have utilized those before or had that experience before, where the physical is what matters. And in order to ensure that they embed the chip that allows anyone who has the physical to claim the NFT onto the blockchain. So the NFT really is the proof of ownership in this case, and the physical is the part that is important, which makes sense for the traditional art crowd that this is really meant for. And if folks remember Virtu Fine Art, they were the folks, they had a similar project in the sense of this mechanic with using the NFT as proof of ownership with Tyler Hobbs during Art Basel last year. So it seems to be they're carving out a little bit of a niche doing that and utilizing their connections with the trad art world to help generative Web3 artists get more in touch with trad art collectors. And I personally love this art. I think it's beautiful as Harvey does amazing work all the time. So the exhibition starts, I believe it is tomorrow. I'll have to double check. It's actually out at the Hamptons. So Harvey will be out there, but it runs through the weekend. So wanted to highlight this one for folks as
Yeah,
well.
I love Harvey's overlap between different collecting spaces and his commitment to expanding the collectorship. I mean, this is obviously going to appeal to a lot of Web3, given Harvey's status within the artistship, but really cool how he's tapping into a lot of different verticals within the art market. So I love this play.
Absolutely, absolutely, and beautiful art as always. So congrats to Harvey, and if anyone's interested, reach out to him. You can reach out to us. I can get you in touch with him if anyone wants to collect one of these pieces. Let's highlight a couple artists. The first one I want to start with is called Basic, 0x Basic. So really interesting, a non-artist. They created a collection that is called Computer Science Death of, and I guess they have another one, End of Death. Did this just come out? Oh, looks like this literally just came out. 500 pieces. And with at least the Computer Science Death of, what they did was all of this art is made by an AI algorithm that helped create the code to then create the art itself. And they did this thing where they said any sales, all of the proceeds from the sales go into a wrapped ETH bid. And the artist themselves is putting out that wrapped ETH bid. If that bid is taken, they burn the piece that was taken from that bid. So there are now 97 left. 3 of them have been burned. Kind of an interesting experiment. They gave away a lot of these pieces. Floor prices run up. But, we all like a good anonymous artist. So I figured I would highlight that. And it's nice to have some intrigue while the market is somewhat slow still. I wasn't actually aware of this End of Death one. So this is it looks like an edition that they just released, an edition of 500. So they're continuing to release some work. We'll see if they ever reveal who they are, but that was one I wanted to highlight. I'll throw it over to you, Jared, to finish this off.
Yeah, in scrolling through the top sales in fxhash, it was reminded of Fragments of a Wave by Ryan Bell, and it just wanted to highlight Ryan. Has been incredibly active, a very large participant within a lot of communities, and just somebody who I keep finding myself coming back to. And it was cool to see Fragments of a Wave get a little bit of love. They just barely squeak in to that great art at great prices at 500 TES, but also reminding people of there's Hyperdrive A side that was a Art Blocks release. Full disclosure, I'm a holder there, but I mean, there's a rare blue palette like sitting on the floor. And again, it's 0.3 ETH, 0.29 really, but it's at $567 at today's prices, which means it's a very attractive price point to get like a really rare Ryan Bell piece. So it's encouraging to me, and I think that often when I'm evaluating it, as we do in our deep dives, we talk about the artist, and I just think I'm constantly reminded that it's beautiful art and a really amazing individual who's active within the community. It seems like a great time to highlight Ryan. So congrats for jumping to the top of the Tezos fxhash sales list again. Well deserved. Wanted to give a little bit of opportunity to highlight that.
Absolutely. Big fan of Ryan's work, big fan of his contributions to the community. Great pick for an artist to highlight. And that's it, folks. Thank you for tuning in. If you like this, please support us. Please give us a like, a follow on YouTube and Twitter. We're at collectors_XYZ. Check out 8nap art, as Jared was talking about. We'll have spaces on that next week. And until then, we'll talk to you later.
Here for this. Let's hear it.
Thank you for tuning into Collector's Corner. We really appreciate you taking the time to listen. If you like this episode and want to help us out, please subscribe and leave us a review on your podcasting platform of choice, like Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and follow us on YouTube. Please also follow us on Twitter for announcements as we expand to other social and content platforms. Our Twitter handle is at collectors_XYZ. We'd also love to hear any feedback you have, so please comment or reach out. We're always striving to be more useful and get better so we can help you in your collecting journey. The Collectors Corner team and their guests are not registered investment advisors. All views expressed on this podcast are personal opinions and are not specific inducements to make particular investments or investment strategies and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. This show is solely for informational and entertainment purposes only. Before making any financial decisions, please consult a professional.